Lies in my hands, pretty much. Okay.
Those roles are so unsung. They are truly heroes. Their work is not as glamorous to people who don't understand operations, but truly they make a significant difference.
The big team doesn't have a big team feel to it. I guess that's really what I'm trying to say, you know? It's a lot of people in numbers, but it's just people, right? And we're just here and supporting each other, and I'm fortunate enough to work with a lot of people that just kind of do the right thing.
That's the reason why we have so much technology that we have, because all of that came from different people, from different areas, from different walks of life. And to continue to have that will not only make you better as a person, but makes a company better.
From the Multifamily Studios in Scottsdale, Arizona, with Patrick and Carrie Antrim. Live today in Multifamily.
All right. Hey, everyone.
Good morning.
Good afternoon, depending on where you are.
Yeah, what are you drinking? Tea, coffee? I know what Aaron's drinking. What does he have his morning routine?
Yes,
What's it
it's
called?
called cacao.
Okay.
Yes.
I haven't gotten on that yet.
No.
All right. Well, welcome to Live Today Multifamily. It's great to be with you today. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Maybe you're on Facebook, watching on Twitter, LinkedIn. What else? We've got multifamilystudios.com.
Yeah, we've got live.multifamilystudios.com. We've got Minnesota, Georgia, Texas, Ohio, Arizona, Pennsylvania, just to name a few in the house. Thank you all for joining us today. We're glad to have you. And in case you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Carrie Antrim. This is my husband and my co-host Patrick Antrim. We are joining you from Multifamily Studios here in Scottsdale, Arizona.
That's right, and we are actually live right now. So if you want to be involved in the show, put a note in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know what you're doing. Are you working today? What's happening in your world? We'd love to know that.
Absolutely.
Should we start off the top in multifamily? We had a great week. A lot of celebration around the Apartment Teams Day.
Yeah. I saw a lot of great things happening on social media.
Yeah.
There were people doing nice things for their teams, their on-site teams.
Yeah, great. It's hashtag
AP Teams Day.
AP Teams Day, yeah. And last time I checked the hashtag, Marcia had like 300 and some likes. I think we need to get her to like 1,000 at least.
1,000 likes for
on
Marcia?
the heart.
Okay.
Yeah, and she did a selfie.
I saw that.
And she had the
T-shirt
T-shirt
she had a shirt on too. I loved it. Yeah, that was great. Good job,
I was trying
Marcia.
to see who she was zooming with, but I couldn't tell.
Oh, yeah. We're talking about Marcia Bollinger with Apartments.com. She was one of the people spearheading this initiative.
Yeah, it was great.
So.
And Marcia's, I remember back in the days when I just get the Facebook connections where it's like, at this airport, at that airport, at that airport.
Yes.
So it was nice to see Marcia traveling again.
Yep.
All over the internet, thanks to the AP Teams Day. That was wonderful.
Yes.
And again, some of the great things there were some of the messages that some of these company leaders sent to, the on-site teams, right? Everybody got involved. It was, it's important because, as an investor, everybody knows that's where the yield is created, right? All the action, all the rent, all of the experience, and sometimes the challenges and problems are on site. And so we just appreciate those that have shown up and stepped up to not only do the work, but also recognize those that have done it. A lot of the executives I know in the industry, we all started on site. I mean, I was an apprentice for an owner of a portfolio, and then when I thought I was ready to run the company, he said, "You're going to be a leasing
at 22
agent."
or something?
Yeah, exactly. I was ready. At least I thought I was ready.
Yeah.
Leasing agent to assistant managers to the management and training to scraping curbs, the maintenance department. and you really understand. At the time, I was thinking back, like, I really wanted to own and invest in the real estate. Why would I want to, work on site? Like,
Right.
I felt like I was off track for a while.
Yeah.
Wanted to quit.
Yeah.
It was hard work, and now, as you run portfolios, some of that work, you recognize that's where the value is. I saw some messages from people that really resonated with that's where they started their career, and that's and some people, the industry saved them. So there's a lot of emotion tied to residents. Living in their first apartment, getting married, and that's the first place that they moved into,
Yep.
or some people have been through divorces. That's apartment rescued them in many cases.
Right, absolutely.
And so college, and now you've got people that are doing great things, that are sending their kids away to student housing. There's so many things that happen
Yep.
on site, and it's great to celebrate those teams
Yeah.
involved.
Well, we have some updates on our America Rents film, right? We've been filming the last couple of weeks. You want to talk about
Yeah, this week
that?
we finished another episode. Exciting, out touring the investment property in Arizona,
Yep.
and also went to connect another investor to a wealth manager, and just talk about what some of the elite minds are doing with high-level wealth, I guess. I don't know
Right.
how else to explain it, but $100 million, $500 million kind of portfolio, investment portfolio. And so you do people put them in stocks, bonds, all of those conversations, and then really helping those investment managers know how to go direct to multifamily to take care of real estate and take care of that investor. So
Yeah.
it was
And
exciting. We were all over the place.
Yeah.
We were at the property, at the restaurant. We went to
The office.
well, yeah,
An office.
some driving, and then we ended up doing a little surprise visit.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun.
Yeah. So bringing this all together, we did release some more footage from the documentary on Apartment Teams Day. A little bit of behind the scenes kind of stuff with maintenance teams and
Yeah,
things
little
like
teaser
that.
clips.
Yeah, so if you and those clips right now are free to everyone to view on multifamilystudios.com. You'll see the America Rents. We call them swim lanes, but basically when you go to Netflix, you have all those different categories, right? Like
We should have comedies. That's
continue
coming soon.
watching,
Yeah.
trending, documentary, comedy, whatever. So we have
Yeah.
one that says America Rents. Multifamilystudios.com. You can go there, and all of those are free right now. You don't have to be a subscriber to view those, so go check those out.
Yeah, and you can just go right to the hashtag. I think we hashtagged them on social.
on social.
You can
Yes.
find them in the stream.
Yep.
Yep, you can find them there too as well.
AP Teams Day.
Yes, fun stuff. So, listen, again, thank you for tuning in today. Look, you've got a lot of things going on probably in your world, but it's Friday, right?
It is
This
Friday.
is a Friday show.
Yes.
And you're with us, so thank you for that. And, check in with us. Put a note in the comment that you're here so we can, I think we were talking about like a prize pack or some fun stuff.
You had mentioned a couple weeks ago paying it forward, and so we had some people write in and talk about how they had been paying it forward, and then we sent
Did any of
some
you pay it
Starbucks
forward? Did you guys
gift
pay it
cards.
forward?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So if you were watching a couple weeks ago and you saw that portion of the show, let us know if you're paying it forward or if someone has paid it forward to you recently. I thought that was a really fun
Absolutely.
thing to talk about.
And look, the reason why we're doing this show is to bring you access to experts, access to maybe some things that it's not just more noise. Something
Right.
impacts the way that you think about the business, improves your life in some way, gets you some kind of result, all right? And that's the idea of a positive. When you're interacting with the marketplace, if you can do that for others, then chances are they're going to pay attention to the things that you're working on. So.
Yeah.
Look, this is all about us trying to help you create wealth in multifamily without attending another event, right? Like we're bringing the content to you. And today we've got 5 speakers. We're bringing them
Right.
some little snippets
Yep.
of content, really get them to think a little differently today.
Yeah.
And maybe think a little bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get to that soon. But I have some news that I thought you might find interesting. And
Is it news or is it a story? because we don't do news.
Oh, well, it's a news story. How about that?
I'm just teasing. But.
Okay. Well, this comes to us from Multifamily Biz. Urban rent slowdown may signal renters are edging toward the suburbs. So Zillow is saying that rent growth hit the brakes this spring. Rent prices in urban areas have slowed more than those in suburban areas.
Right. So think about this, right? Look at Old Town Scottsdale.
Yes.
Right. Restaurants not open as much.
Right. Bars not open at all.
They tried to for a little while. And so the whole idea of, you rent, you get on that golf cart, you're rolling around town. Other cities seeing this too as well. Also, you have employers that have built a business around being close to certain restaurants, being close to certain public transportation, all these things.
Exactly.
And now you're like, wait a minute. I'm a paralegal, I can work from home.
Right, my commute is gone.
Or I don't need to drive in 40 minutes into the city. So there's a little bit of relaxation around that, and I think people are starting to look at, hey, listen, my lease is coming up.
Yep.
And by the way, I've been working from home for all this time, and now I can rent, in some cases, a little more favorable.
Right, in the suburbs.
Yeah, sometimes a little more favorable.
Or, people are moving back home,
yeah.
To be with family or because of the economic situation or whatever, and so they're moving from the more densely populated areas out back with mom and dad or whoever,
And I think it's too early to tell how these changes affect long-term positioning, but I think, was it Joshua Clark? Do you want to read what he said? I think he said
he says it's important to separate how much of the trend we are seeing comes from shifting tastes as opposed to the economic reality that renters face. So I think it's just going to be a matter of time before they're able to really pin down those trends.
Yeah, well, what he's saying there is, look, there was the old story of renter by choice, like, okay, I want to have more of a flexible life, and I'm renting not because... the old story was you're renting because you can't buy. And so now the story is, well, I'm renting because I can do what I want when I want, and I want to have more flexibility, and plus I don't want to deal with all the homeownership stuff. And so I think what he's saying there is that the apartment industry or the apartment renter was greatly impacted over even, single-family homeowners in regards to the types of employers that were hit hard. You're talking about servers. You're talking about just think of the restaurants, right? So, and many of the other obvious establishments, gym owners and things like that, or gym employees, not going to sporting clubs and stuff like that. And so, a lot of that shift can come from financial motivation, not just like, I want to design a different life. And so I think he goes on to say, it may be tempting to conclude that urban renters who have been cooped up without outdoor space and unable to visit their favorite local bar are ready to commit to suburban life. And that is likely true for many, but the narrative ignores the job loss that was hit by renters. Who are disproportionately employed in the industries most affected and has likely played a bigger role in recent moves. Head over to Multifamily Biz. You can check out that story, more details, more facts, more information over there, but something to think about, and especially if you're going in and buying apartments. These are the types of things that we want to explore from a renter standpoint in this documentary series, this whole brand around uncovering how that shift of homeownership looks in multifamily, how you define wealth. Is that now just a currency, or is it a wealth of time? Is it wealth of location, wealth of choice? I think cities like New York, San Francisco, with seeing corporate housing type of renting fall down or fall lower demand than previous years, get some impact there as well.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
What do you think? What would you do?
Well, I mean, I can see it both ways, because you and I, we love to be around the action, and like you were mentioning,
energy.
Old Town Scottsdale, like we love to just be around energy and people, and we are high energy and high performing kind of people. So for us personally, I don't see us ever doing that.
Right.
But I can totally understand how, like you said at the top, if someone's like, listen, I've been working from my home office for the last 5 months.
Right.
And this is awesome. I don't have that hour and a half commute. I used to do that. Remember that?
Right.
And So yeah, now I'm like, they're becoming aware they can live where they want.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the choice, of the definition of wealth. We always talk about the definition of success is different for every person.
Yeah,
Because what
it's up to
you
them.
see as successful
Right.
might not be the same for me. I think the same thing for wealth.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be monetary wealth. It might be a wealth of time or a wealth of freedom or whatever that is.
Right. Well, the good news is investments are always going to be there, and that's why, again, we shifted our focus, not shifted, but grew our focus into the investment community. Because now you talk about just because you're renting doesn't mean you can't have, leveraged wealth, right? Like you
right.
still can participate in investments.
Right.
So instead of buying your single family home, you're now participating in a REIT, or you're part of a private, joint venture opportunity, or you're a passive investor in another deal. But deals are still going to happen. It's just exciting, I think, to see what's happening. But for like what we're talking about, being able to not when you're looking at the data has already happened.
Right.
So it'll be interesting because now our kids are in school. Behind a computer.
Yes.
That's 7, 8, 9-year-olds behind a computer learning how to click, join room meetings on was it Microsoft
Zoom
Teams,
and Teams,
where to
they
get
have
their
all these different
instructional guides. You're
platforms. Yeah.
training people in the
Yep.
future how they're going to learn. Number one, online learning. The disruption of education is happening right before us. But we were talking about Gen Z, the customer growing up on one of these. Seamless transition or acquisition to become a customer.
Yep.
Click, 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 buy. And how maybe the clunky process of leasing today is not suitable for the customer of tomorrow. Now you look at, we've just trained billions of people how to remote learn, how to remote communicate, remote meet, all of these things. So think about this.
I think that this whole thing has just accelerated it. Obviously, everybody says that.
It's by 6 years from what the research that I read.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Literally a 6-year advancement in what would have happened anyway.
Well, so you were talking about these little ones on, I was talking with my 9-year-old and we were getting him logged into one of the many platforms he has to use for school, and this particular one takes maybe 5 or 6 steps to get logged in. It's just clunky, whatever. It needs to be updated. So I went through it with him. I'm like, okay, you got to go here first, and then you got to enter this and click here, and then you go here, and then it comes up, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a struggle, Done.
Yeah.
Got it. I mean, I didn't have to show him twice. Like,
right.
At 9, his brain is already there. Now, if I was trying to teach my mother that, it wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Because she's just not grown up with that.
True, and he's probably watching. So Sawyer, if you're watching, great job this morning, because
he better not be watching. He better
he's
be
at
in
recess.
school.
Hey, you can stop for this. There's still he needs to know financial literacy in schools need to happen.
Yes,
They've got to happen
100%.
somewhere. So I'm glad that
real
we
quick,
interrupted that.
While we're doing shout-outs to our kids. No, I'm just kidding. I want to give a shout-out to Jason Stoughton. He's joining us today. He says, you two put the multifamily in Multifamily Friday. Good to see you both. Thanks for tuning in, Jason. We're so glad you're here. And Kim Sen Cross says, hello and love seeing you both. We love seeing you too,
we
Kim.
do. Man,
Can't see you, but I'm picturing you.
Two powerhouse leaders. You've got the essence of our brand in those two people. You've got technology and leadership, the collision of those two things. Like, if you guys aren't talking to each other, you should be. Okay, Jason, find Kim, and Kim, find Jason. That is the future of
and then we've
really
got Kelly over here
stuff.
on Facebook wondering when Sherry Druckman will come on. So Sherry will be up here.
Oh, we did put that
coming up soon. So
yeah.
Stick around. We are going to get to Sherry. It's nice to know that Sherry's got some fans out there. We're big fans of Sherry as well.
Yeah, well, she's served the industry for so many years in so many ways, and good stuff there. So let's go on to our next segment. We're talking about the best places to work multifamily. We'll quickly go through what's happening here. Today is the last day to get involved.
That's right.
In the program.
You better head over to bestplacestoworkmultifamily.com. Today is the last day to register.
Yes, and this year is shaping up to be an amazing year. Obviously, we're out of most of the turmoil of the early stages. It's a good season to be getting involved right now. Now, what we can do is through this survey, we're looking at the remote learning, the remote workplace survey. We're also looking at impacts to COVID-19 and how employees are emotionally feeling about their involvement. Are they being supported? Are there access to tools? Do they have the tools? Those are important things to know because we need to build a business and you need to be able to gather that data.
It's a great way to gather that data. It's totally anonymous for your employees, totally confidential. It's not like a Survey Monkey or I don't even know. It's not like the
it's not things. It's not the technology, it's who actually gets, so like if your employer sends you an email and says, hey, I'd like you to survey on this, then they're going to say, "Oh, we're great, we're great."
Yeah, I love it. Right?
Look what happened to Ellen, right? Like,
oh goodness,
quickly unfolded, right? And so, and I don't know enough to talk about that, but my point is, when there's fear in an organization, progress and innovation doesn't happen. Right. Because experimenting is all about innovation, and if in order to make an experiment, you have to take a risk, and you can't be fearful of what you say and stuff. And so when you have, and on the flip side of that, as a leader, an executive, if you have this data, then you can truly do something about it, right? Now, those that come through the program actually do stuff about it. That's the exciting part, and we get to celebrate those things.
They see where they're excelling, and they're like, awesome, this is great, let's continue this. They see where there's areas for growth. Okay, let's focus on this next quarter, whatever it is.
One thing to mention is the way that we do this is the single one thing that we do really well. We've been doing this will be what I think our 7th year or something. And this is not a bolt-on to something else to try and retain or keep engagement. Like this is something that we've done going back to 2014, and companies that go through this really truly get the value. It's completely affordable. So what you're going to get like $6,000 to $10,000 worth of research because we do so much at one time. The cost to do it is like less than posting a job type thing. So the money's off the table. It's so easy to get involved. You might be thinking, "Oh, I don't have time. I can't get involved. I've got this going on. I got that going on." But that also is the first indication of if your best places to work multifamily, because the first part of getting the designation and ranking is actually saying, I'm going to make it a priority. That's the first step. And so that's...
And you might also be thinking like, oh, I don't want to have my associates do more work or something else. But this is a great way to show them that you actually care about what's going on. You want to know what's happening in their world, what's going great, what might be improved, all of those things. This is a great way to show them that you care.
Yeah, true. And it's an 8 to 10 minute survey. It's not like it's clunky, and those that have been through surveys like this, they have the data already. It's just a matter of updating it and participating in the benchmark, because it's nice to know how you compare to other organizations, and just reminding that this is the official list. So one way to get on, and we've launched in 2019 the women's list. So the best places to work multifamily for women, the only way to get on that list is to first make the national list. That's another standard that a lot of people hold high in retrospect to how they're building a balanced organization.
It's a very prestigious list. Hey, real quick, Kathy Arsenal is joining us. Hey, Kathy, thanks so much for joining us today. She says, I love Sherry Druckman.
Aw.
Yes, Jason says, me too. I love it.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Oh, good. And it looks like Jason and Kim are already connecting.
There you go.
Making connections this Friday morning.
Hey,
I love it. That's what we're all about.
Look, creating wealth in multifamily without attending another event.
There you go.
Networking happening live today on Multifamily. That's great. Love you guys.
Love it. Now look at this. We got Rachel in the house. Live from Goodyear, Arizona.
Oh,
thank you.
We talked about, so there's an example, Goodyear.
Yes.
I mean, big investments coming on out there.
Big thing. What's out? We've got Amazon out there.
Well, not only
all
that.
Kinds of industry happening out
so
there.
that's the suburban conversation we just had. Rachel, if you didn't join us, watch us on, if you just joined, just watch us earlier. You see the conversation around urban, the move from urban to suburban, and good stuff happening there. So.
And if you are just joining us, my name is Carrie Antrim. I'm joined here with my husband and co-host Patrick Antrim. We are coming at you live from Scottsdale, Arizona, just a little bit further away from Rachel, but not too far, and just happy to share this Friday with you.
Let's go to some speakers.
Okay.
Let's bring on some clips
from
what we did is, those of you that we had about 2,900 people, a little north of 2,900 people join us live, not all at one time, but throughout the week or the two-day summit.
2-day event.
And we still have people that are purchasing the replay
Yes.
or the on-demand access, so they can get access to that. We have show notes, detailed show notes with timestamps that allow you to know what part of the show you want to look at and who you want to see, what session. You can go to multifamilyopssummit.com and get access to all of the show.
I mean, 20 shows? Was it 20 shows?
Yeah.
20 speakers?
Yeah.
20 shows?
Yeah.
I mean, just...
Plus keynotes,
Yeah.
plus some music.
Yeah.
With some music.
The music was great.
Fun stuff. So we're excited about all that, but we wanted to bring you some value with some of the highlights from those speakers today. So we'll start with Coach Dar, Excellence with Coach Dar. Have a look at this.
So level up your energy, level up your game, and do everything with excellence, because when you do, your family will win, your relationships will win, your business, and then even people that you meet just out of the blue, they might come back in your circle again someday and they're going to go, you know what? Every time I was around you, I always felt so good in your company. You just made me feel better. And like I said when I started this, leave people feeling better than when you found them. And they'll never forget. And they'll want to do business with you. And they'll want to have a relationship with you. And if I'm trying to create a championship team, I want people that I know are going to give excellence, that are going to hold themselves accountable, that are going to be trustworthy, that are going to be authentic, high-level integrity, and they're going to give everything they have, because they know if they do, we'll all win together. So be that kind of person, lead with excellence, level up your mindset every single day so you can level up your impact.
Shot in the arm there, Kino.
I love that. Let me talk to you about Coach Dar, because when we first met her, before she did this keynote for us, we met her a couple of times, and she's just lovely and wonderful. And I remember thinking to myself, man, when she leaves our studio, I feel so good. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about her. There's something about her energy. And then she did this keynote, and she talked about it right there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she's got it. Like, she
and she's living it out. We had a Zoom with her yesterday, and it felt amazing.
I know, even Zooming with her, not even in the same room. And I'm just like, oh, I just like being around her.
She said, level up your game, do everything with excellence. Obviously, that's, even when people are not looking, right? Like,
especially when people are not looking.
When people are not looking. I love that. Leaving people feel better than they found them.
And they will want to do business
with you. They will want to do business with you. Again, look, being able to have an event and still have an event, like literally the event is still happening.
Right.
I'm really excited about that, just bringing, there was a reason we put her at the beginning of the show. Like how we structure our event, we put a lot of thought into what happens first and how everything builds off of each component of the experience. Because it's like a foundation.
Right.
That was a very good foundation for the beginning of the show. So if you're buying the on-demand and you're going to multifamilyopssummit.com to get the recordings, make sure that's one of the shows you want to watch first. You may be thinking, well, she's not talking about transactional NOI, cap rate, and trends and affordable housing. She's talking about all the things that influence all the decisions that you will make as you build your business and build your career.
Absolutely.
Amazing time with her.
And we are not the only ones who feel this way. Becky Lord Pauley says, that was such a great week full of fabulous inspiration. Jason is saying, what a great experience this was. And Stephanie Oler says, the music was amazing, kept me tuned in between fantastic speakers. So, and that's something we try to do,
The music,
Well, the music and the speakers, and starting with Coach Dar, who, like you said, is not transactional. It's not like, here's how you buy an apartment, here's how you run it, Right. She's just framing it, and we always try to do that. We're framing our experience. Right? So we can put a bow on it, and everyone leaves feeling awesome.
Like your emu frame.
Oh, goodness. We're not going to talk about the emu today. We're going to move on to Sherry Druckman. So Sherry joined us talking about educating the public on affordable housing. So let's see what Sherry had to say.
Look at all of look at what's going on right now. And you take your voter who is not perhaps educated in the true effects of rent control, and they know they're just really concerned about being able to meet their rent and their food and student loans, and they think that that's a viable solution, and then that's where we get into trouble. And I think that it's about educating educating the public, educating our legislators, being involved, having a voice, to really get the message out that rent control doesn't work. I would be hard pressed, and I don't know if anyone would be able to say that they know an economist who would vouch that rent control works. I don't think there is one, because we just know that it doesn't.
When you try to control anything, nothing works when you're trying to control it.
Well,
right? So
yeah, of course.
Restrictions on anything is not good. But amazing.
Sherry's one of the smartest people I know. Like, when she talks, I just shut up and listen.
Yeah, absolutely. And we actually have a whole series on Multifamily Studios with Sherry, so you need to check that out.
Yeah, it's called The Affordable Crisis.
The Affordable Crisis.
Tells you everything you need to know. I mean, it's just incredible. She's such a wealth of information and knowledge.
But when she's talking there about educate, it's so many important things that are happening right there in what she's talking about. She's talking about educating the public. And if you're trying to sell a product in the industry, you need to educate before they convert, right? Like, they need to understand what they're getting. And as complexity happens, you have to educate. You have to know what you're getting. In the communities, there's plenty. I think there's a lot of insiders that are educated that it doesn't work. The trouble is, the people voting, the people that are experiencing it, are not educated.
Right, they just don't know the story.
I love her commitment to both inside the industry, and I know she's on all the association legislative. I mean, the resume, it'd be like 4 pages if I read it. But also working for an amazing quality organization, running a business at the same time. So, are you guys? You have your day jobs all day. You know, take care of the real estate,
all night,
take care of the investors, that's true, and the people. And then they have this extra work that, like Sherry's doing. It's exciting.
She's incredible.
So get the message out, right? That's very important. Hey, go live. Do something in your community that can help. You know, or record a video. Do something, but. We do need to make...
And Sherry's another one that travels. I mean, pre-COVID, she was traveling all the time in D.C. all the time. Like, she is really working hard to make an impact in this world. Not a little impact, a big impact, which I just find so incredible.
Yep.
So
we need more people like that getting involved.
I think what we're saying is we're big fans of Sherry Dreckman, too.
She'd probably help mentor you
if
you needed it. But good stuff. So... let's talk about digital leasing conversion. We have Dirk Wakeham, who we had the opportunity to spend time with. This is a gentleman that has done so much in multifamily. If you don't know him, Google him. He's done some amazing things in multifamily, innovator in so many business units, back when he was an investor in his family business. And so he brings an innovation of what's next. He understands the capital market, the venture capital market, and he understands the, running the business of multifamily, and someone to follow with trends. And so let's take a look at what Dirk Wakeham said about leasing conversions.
It's funny, there is some initial data coming out that's showing that the actual conversion rates of residents that view an apartment without a leasing agent or an on-site associate actually close at a higher rate than those that are shown with a human. And so I think, the acceleration of that, there's a bunch of components to it, obviously smart locks, and you got to have all the infrastructure to support sort of the pre-screening of that customer, that resident before they show up, so you know who's actually letting into the apartment for an hour to look around, all the mechanics and logistics of making sure 2 people don't show up at the same time and all those things. So we think that's a pretty, it's somewhat COVID driven, but I also think it's consumer driven in the desire to not sort of be walked through, a sales pitch that we historically operated in ways what we train leasing agents to do, right? We train them to sort of walk through the marketing corridor to make sure they hit all the amenities. We pay services to come out and score how well they do on that. They're hitting all 10 of the points and they get a score and we give them feedback. It's back to my process and system thing. I think the consumer, they just want to see the apartment. They want to stand in it. They want to visualize themselves living in it. They want to think about where their furniture is going to go. They want to talk to their spouse or significant other or roommate about it. And it sounds like in that case, it's the human gets in the way. So again, this is a technology it's available. Many companies are selling it. We've got some products in this area, and we're getting a lot of interest in that.
we're talking about the consumers very deeply there. Someone that definitely pays attention to that. I like what he said about.
He was really diving into human behavior too. You know, if you and I go view an apartment or a house, I want to be able to be like, hey, do you see that over there? You know, like not have to whisper it. So I think there is something to that, like not having someone there in the room with you. You're able to talk freely and kind of look at it in a different way.
You know, going back to education, you don't talk to your neighbor in school, or be nice, don't bully, all of that stuff. And so, you know, as a consumer, sometimes even a leasing agent, prospective leasing or prospective resident interaction, sometimes if you just knew what the objections were, you could actually have a chance of overcoming them. But customers don't always tell you. What they, you know, it's like, what's the real, like, give me the real. So they're polite, they're nice. There are people that I know that avoid conflict, right? They'll tell you, oh, well, I got to check with my spouse, I got to check with my partner, or whatever. They just want to get away from conflict. And so technology allows all of that to go out of the door and get quicker to the decisions. I like what he talked about in the session, where he was saying, as he achieved his rental car status, that the highest level was that he doesn't even have to talk to it. He can just go right to the car. That was like an incentive. That was like a perk. Is getting the humans out of the way. Well, think about it with like check-ins at resorts and hotels and stuff. Like some of them offer, you know, you don't have to actually go to the desk to check in, and that's like the VIP experience. It's where you don't have to talk to another human, I guess. Acceleration of digital leasing. He also, you know, we had smart access discussions with a smart rent in that operations summit. And what he's talking about here is, it's one thing to know all this, but the other thing is you got to get the technology stack together to make it actually happen. And so that's pretty interesting today. So I think differently about how are we training, you know, our leasing agents today. How are we, how are they showing up in shifting their roles? And maybe we need to just kind of step back and go, what are the consumers really asking for?
Yeah, and then the leasing agents become more of a support, you know, to that customer experience. Like the customer comes in and already knows what they want. They've seen it online, and so then it's just like, okay, let's make this as frictionless as possible. You know?
Who needs more things to do? Okay, so our next speaker that we're going to bring on here is NBA team star. He's played on championship NBA teams. He's a 3 times TEDx speaker, and he joined us live at the Multifamily Ops Summit. So let's take a look at what Carrick Felix says about team culture, team performance, and high performance. One person can always poison the whole well. And you know, with that being said, you want to make sure that as you're approaching, you know, the situation or the toxicity within the team of whether it's sports, multifamily, whether you own, you know, a produce business, you want to approach it in a way where as you talk to the individual or individuals about their performance, you want to go about it in a way where you can let them know. Obviously, you got to be honest with them, got to tell them the truth, but also give them things that they can maybe be doing better, to whether it's to get another opportunity, whether it's to make more sales, or whether it's to manage the property better. I think you have to give them kind of a framework of how they can be better, and give them a better understanding of what they're doing wrong, and what they can do to be better in their situation.
Wow, I don't think anything truer has ever been said, that one person can poison the well. I mean, you're, you know, I worked for a very high performing organization years ago, and you know, where we all were there with the singular goal but it just takes that one person to just bring it down. And I loved having Carrick in here, because again, kind of like Coach Dar, he's not talking about, you know, how to run your apartment community or invest or anything like that, but he's talking about the people who are doing those things, the people who are running your teams or your communities, you know, and how to keep them at that high performing level without having the anchor. I mean, the toxicity.
All companies are nothing more than a collection of people, and we don't teach people how to bring people together in this this industry and in many industries, quite frankly.
Right.
And it was nice to see somebody that comes in and understands what a champion means, what it means to be a championship team.
Right.
The egos involved on these teams are
I can't even imagine.
You have to show up, you have to win first as an individual so you can show up for the team.
Right.
And it was nice to explore all of that.
That's an interesting point, too, because I would imagine athletes in any sport, like you said, they have to win first. So it's all about me. I have to be the best I can.
And sometimes that's going to bed the night before.
Right.
Eating the right things.
Right. And that's in order to then make a team where I can't think about myself anymore. Now I have to think about the 9, 10, 12, whatever sport you're playing, all these teammates around me. So how do I also be the best for me, but then take it to the team mentality?
Yeah, yeah. A lot covered there. Again, just an incredible human being. And we had, really, it was a conversation, and he's doing some apartment investing as well, or real estate investing. And it was nice to see how he sees high performance. Because I think at the end of the day, we all want high performance. And at the same time, there's pressure of, well, we got to create this happy workplace. And in my experience, people are happy when they're winning.
Right.
Right. And so if you're not winning yourself, and you're not bringing your best self, and that means getting outside of your problems and concerns and getting into a higher level of learning, getting around the right people, investing in the right content, so then you show up every day as that championship or champion. So then together you can create a championship team. That's really what I think organizations are counting on. It was really nice to see Carrick show up like that. And again, here we go. We've got Coach Dar, we've got a professional athlete, we've got the transactional things coming together. So multifamily, to figure all of these things out, there's a range of things that you have to do to be successful. And you can't just look for data and facts. Facts and information don't sell. Story and people do. And that's exciting to do that. So check out Multifamily Ops Summit. You can get access to the show notes and all of these great shows on that website.
All right, and we've got another clip here from the Freemans. The Freemans are relationship experts.
Yes.
They're authors. Their second book is coming out in February. They are speakers. They run workshops. They do it all. And the thing I love about the Freemans is that they teach you the skills, just how you learn how to do long division. It's a skill, right?
Well, you listened to Carrick in the clip before that.
It's long division.
And he's talking about, like, hey, look, you've got somebody that's causing challenges. Move them through that. Like, be clear.
Right.
Like in sports, you literally look at the recordings. You look at the what did I do there? Oh, I did this. You're constantly looking at self-improvement. You're looking at making adjustments.
Yep.
And in professional life, it's like, well, I don't want to tell them I'll hurt their feelings. And people are looking for that feedback so they then can get better themselves. And Carrick said, hey, listen, give them the feedback, give them the what they need to do to improve, and just be truthful with them.
It's just a skill.
It's a skill. We talked about an employers or employees look at their employers as the single most trusted source of truthful information. And so when this is great information, because then you step into what you're talking about, what the Freemans talking about is how to move through different expectations and how to move through conflicts.
Because there are emotions involved.
There are.
At work.
There are.
High emotions. I mean, it's no different than at home. I mean, so the Freemans have a really good way of integrating all of that and working through those emotional things. Let's take a look at what they have to say here about saying sorry.
Something we talk a lot about is how we'll just say, well, I'm sorry, as a bypass. Do you know why saying just I'm sorry doesn't usually cut it? Or it comes up later and the partner goes, this is just like that time. I'm sorry. It's a nice attempt. Don't get me wrong. It's a nice attempt to acknowledge that maybe you could have done something differently. But it doesn't acknowledge their emotions. And that's what has someone feel understood, like Coach Dar also talked about. It has someone feel like, okay, they understand, they're validating my feelings. In a way, when you do that to someone, you can almost see them visibly change. If you've been with your partner and you say, I hear you, like, that was really disappointing to you, you feel mad that we haven't been keeping that agreement around quality time, you must feel hurt by that. The person just, like, their shoulders kind of relax, they're just like, yeah, that's it. It's really healing and powerful to acknowledge the emotional world.
powerful. The emotional world, truly.
Right.
It's the world we live in.
Right. Well, we were just talking the other day. You read something about how all decisions are based on emotion. You know, there's the emotional buyer and the logical buyer, right? But really, it's all emotion, because you will find a way to logically justify that purchase or, you know, that
Correct.
decision, whatever it is.
Yeah, it starts early in life, and we have to take a look at, you know, what's driving some of those emotions. Those emotions can keep us out of the game of, you know, asking for that promotion, going after your first deal, whatever that might be. But, you know, what I like about what they brought here is, look, you know, you're running multifamily companies, investments, and you through that you're, you know, in commercial and retail. Well, mostly commercial. You're, you know, the real estate's shaped up with contracts, long-term contracts.
Yeah.
You know, it's not really about people.
Right.
It's more about who do you have and what's the contract you have in place. But in multifamily, all about people. And if you have and are leading people, you know, everybody starts and ends their day at home.
Yes.
Some home.
Right.
They bring that to work, right? And so this was really important for us to give people not only understanding, like, listen, you have relationships between you as a property manager and the resident,
right?
And then they're talking about in there's stuff that was like disappearing disappointments and stuff like that, like it's powerful.
Oh, totally.
But with relationships between you and the investor, you and your boss, you and vendors, suppliers, so many relationships going on. And then I liked how we, through their teaching, we were talking about like a little bit of the business stuff, but people were commenting about like, oh my gosh, this is like, this is gonna help me at home.
Right.
With what they're doing.
Well, the Freemans constantly challenge me on a personal level to think of things differently. You know, like we just learned from them the other day that actually kind of having a conversation, sometimes interrupting each other is okay.
Yes.
Which for me, I was not brought up that way. Like you interrupt me, I'm done, I'm out.
That's an email.
What?
You send it, then they send it, they send it, they send it.
So the sorry thing challenges me as well, because
I think Apple, I'm going to interrupt you.
I see this.
Purposefully.
Now I'm
Apple
out.
actually in the chat, the bubbles, it's like, hey, you know, they're simulating an interruption basically. Because maybe you're texting.
True. Yeah, that's true. See, you interrupted and now I've lost my game. No, I'm just kidding. So the sorry thing really challenged me as well, because in my mind I'm thinking, all right, if someone says sorry, the other person feels better and it's over. But if you think about it, when you get that sorry, a lot of times you don't actually feel better. You're like, okay, they said sorry, so now I have to forgive them and move on, whatever. And this is work at home, whenever. This is any relationship you have. So this really challenged me, because what she's saying there is like, it's not enough to just say sorry. There's no understanding, there's nothing that's happening between the two people involved in that conversation. Like, it's really like, you know, you got an angry resident that comes in, oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Right.
That doesn't do anything for them except maybe shut them up. I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's not what you want. You want to be like, oh my gosh, I hear what you're saying. Wow, the garbage disposal is broken again. That
horrible.
Has to be so frustrating. You know, whatever it is, it's more about listening to what they're saying. Put yourself in their shoes, feel it, have empathy, and fix it if you can, or you know, make the situation better. But it's not just going to be like, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
That must be terrible.
Right. Let's get a work order. They can't come out. Do we have permission to enter? Yada yada.
So yeah, I just love that, because that constantly, they're just keeping me on my toes.
Yeah, they have a new book coming out, and actually, this book will get you access to a course that they're doing for free. You can get access. Go to theargumenthangover.com, get access to the free book, and check them out. We're gonna be working with them on one of their large launches.
Their launch for the official launch for the book on Valentine's Day.
Right?
It's going to be awesome here in the studio.
It's the world's largest online event for Valentine's Day, so you definitely want to get involved in that. So, fun stuff there.
Anyway, we digress.
What else?
Yeah, so listen, thanks everyone for joining us today. Thanks for commenting, and hope you enjoyed, you know, the thought leadership that we brought to you today. You know, we're just so lucky to be surrounded by all these amazing people, and our goal and vision and mission is to share that with you. So
that's right.
We just appreciate you guys tuning in.
Yes, and if you'd like to see more episodes of this and other shows on Multifamily Studios, go to multifamilystudios.com, and we'll see you guys in the next show.
Bye, everyone.
See you later.